I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but slowly but surely, that side of the aisle is not bringing up DEI. Only been a couple of days, but I want you guys to really pay attention to what they're about to do. They're going to reignite the conversation around wokeness. They have to keep their buzzwords in order to push the false narratives that they want people to believe is driving this saving of the country.
The word is going to be competence. Go watch that full video from Danny Lime. I'm going to tag him down below. He makes a lot of good points in there, but I don't think the word that they're going to go to is wokeness. I think the word they're going to go to is competence. They've already started rolling this out in the conversations around DEI about restoring competence, and they're especially rolling it out after that horrific plane and helicopter crash that happened in DC. Just watch this. This has all been within the past 12 hours.
Well, that's part of competence right there. They shouldn't have that happen. Right there is what I'm talking about. Competence would be you're not going to have a shortage. But if you had the right people, you wouldn't need as many people either.
But this shows you, Laura, where we are in the grand scheme of things in America to say that we ought to base hirings off of competence and merit.
Lost their lives last night. If you aren't confident that DEI had any role, why bring it up?
Well, all I'm talking about is competence. And we want in that particular position, we have to have the most competent people in our country.
We want to hire the best people because we want the best people at air traffic control, and we want to make sure we have enough people at air traffic control who are actually competent to do the job.
We have a presidential memorandum titled Immediate Assessment of Aviation Safety. In light of the damage done to aviation safety by the Biden administration's DEI and woke policies, what this presidential memorandum orders is for your Secretary of Transportation and FAA administrator, in this case acting FAA administrator, to basically ensure that we are actively undoing all of that damage, that we are assessing how much damage was done, and that we're ensuring that people hired within the FAA, in keeping with your memorandum of January 21st, are only the most outstanding, capable people for the jobs that they're being hired into.
In other words, competence.
Yes, sir. Elevating competence over everything else instead of the DEI policies that were pursued by the Biden administration.
To restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government, my administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency.
Enough creators of color have already pointed out that DEI in the Trump administration and with a lot of Republicans means black or means person of color. It does not mean veteran. It does not mean somebody from a rural community when you're in an urban setting. It does not mean someone who didn't go to an Ivy League university. What it means is person of color. And they are doing the connecting here and now. They are talking about how the person who was a DEI hire, quote unquote, is not competent. And so by removing the DEI hire, they are restoring competence. If the DEI hire is no longer in place, who do you think is being hired who they see as competent? Are we doing the math? Is this mathing right now? Fox News is already putting it in their headlines. Conservatives rally around Rockstar Levitt after first White House briefing. Competence is back. Who was there before competence came back? And if you want to go back just a little bit further to know that this conversation was going to happen already, the LA Times owner, who is a conservative owner, blames mayor for cutting fire department budget ahead of wildfires. Blatant lie, we've talked about this before. Competence matters. Who is the mayor? And who is he calling incompetent? I am just saying, keep an eye out before this word starts to take off. Let's instill the idea that competence is not putting somebody in charge of the Department of Defense who has absolutely no business being there. It's not putting somebody in charge of Health and Human Services who has no business being there. It's not putting somebody in front of transportation who has no business being there, right? Like all of the people in his administration that are being confirmed do not belong in these roles. They are not competent. Let us make sure that we are very clear about what competence is and what competence is not. It is the fact that you understand how to do the job. It is not because you are white.